Hello, Mr. Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. And today, as the video title tell you, it's my third Mark of Excellence video in the Tier 9 Swedish Premium Heavy Tank, the Strv K. And if you want to see the equipment and crew setup I'm running in the Strv K, you can see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. Well, we've got 3 replays to show you today, 2 of which is leading up to that third Mark of Excellence. And then you've got the final game where I actually achieve that third Mark of Excellence. So the first replay we have for you today is on the Strv Coast, and it is Tier 10 matchmaking, where we've got 1 enemy artillery, 1 fun police in this game. So initially I was thinking of going to try and play the right hand side of the map and try and work my way around to the ridges on the right hand side, where I can try and use the gun depression of the 10 degrees this tank has. But not a lot of my team has gone there at the moment, and quite a lot of the enemy team have actually gone to play the left hand side of the map and the beach area. So I've come to this side to see if I can get any shots on anything which potentially crosses on this corner here. We do spot an enemy Tier 9 waffle, and we're looking to try and get some shots into him, but yeah, it's got to be a little bit awkward there, to be honest with you, because I don't want to eat too much damage in return. So I'm going to try and relocate to see if I can find any better shots. Just, you know, I don't want to take any crazy risks at the moment, because I think at this point I was on, it was fairly close to the third mark, so I didn't really want to throw away 100%. I just need to do some steady games, work out where all the team are going to be, and you can see quite a lot of the enemy team have been spotted in the sort of 4-5, you know, DE 4-5 area, and then there's quite a few tanks which are pushing down the beach area. So I'm going to go and see if I can get any shots in. Spot the waffle here, sorry, and I do a terrible shot. You know, probably could have aimed that a lot better. I was trying to avoid taking any damage in return. But I'm going to see if we, you know, it looks like it's just going to be hard aiming me here, which is a bit awkward. I'm not sure what gun the waffle is running, whether it's a big gun or the small gun here. But as he shoots and bounces off my side, we discover he is running the big gun. So I do get away with blocking 750 damage there. And I haven't really been able to get into this game. You know, it's kind of been a bit of a slow start for us here. But we do, you know, now some of my friendly team have started to push down the right-hand side of the map. Is going to give me enough support so I can try and push that way. I'm not really expecting to come into much contact with the enemy team here. Maybe a few stragglers, because you can see most of the team, you know, at least sort of 9 of the 14 tanks, but maybe more, is on the sort of beach / D45 area. So I'm thinking that's going to give me a little bit of freedom to try and work my say round on these ridges and then come behind the back of that enemy E4, so I can try and turn the, you know, the Tier 10 tank destroyers. It's a very dangerous tank. And try and get into this damage, because it's been a slow start. There's still plenty of damage available for us, but so far we haven't done anything, and I need to try and get into this fight if I can to start picking up that damage. So we come behind the E4, who isn't paying attention to us. He's got, you know, he's kind of distracted with the tanks in front of him. Should be able to get another shot in here. Probably get aimed at a little bit better, because I do pen through the engine, but I should have aimed a little bit more to the left, gone through that drive hall and tried to track him in place as well. It looks like E4 has turned for us. Unfortunately, he slaps the shot straight through us there, but at least we can trade it out by, you know, penning him twice for his once, which sort of made it an even trade, if you like. And now he's in an awkward situation, because when he turns to me, he's got tanks that are going to shoot him in front of him. I've also got this enemy Conqueror now, which I have side shots into his turret, putting us onto about 2,000 damage. Looking to try and squeeze a shot in there through the side of the E4's turret. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off for us, but he does get shut down by our friendly Polish heavy tank. And now it's about, right, let's get in there and get this damage. I mean, it's still pretty even, but with our friendly team getting in their enemy cap circle, means that the tanks on the beach have had to sort of turn around and go back to try and defend the base, which has given us enough time, you know, to get the damage on that Conqueror. We do track him in place and end up picking up 700 sort of track assistance, as well as a, you know, shot or 2 of damage into Conqueror. So we're doing quite well in that engagement. Get a shot into the side of the enemy Avery, and just being a little bit cautious that the Avery, you know, could potentially one-shot us, so have to be careful of that. But the Avery gets shut down. We squeeze one into the Soviet heavy tank, and putting us onto about 800 assistance odd and 3,000 damage now. So 7 tanks remaining. Still a close game, but we do have the advantage on the hit points and the tank numbers here. And I'm just going to try and work my way back around, because I wanted to get out where I was, just because it looked like a lot of the enemy team have kind of pushed back towards the base to defend their base. I could have got left a little bit isolated, so I'm trying to move up back to my team, if you like, and then try and hopefully, help, with my team re-push to try and fight those, tanks. It's now in a 7 versus 4. I think there is 2 enemy E5s on the enemy team in a platoon who are, from what the looks of it, it's pretty healthy. So I want to support going into those E5s just because it's an E5 and it's a very, very, very capable tank with fantastic DPM. But hopefully we can try and surround them and pick up some more damage out of this game, because we've got about 3,000 damage, 800 assistance. We're kind of at a situation where we're not going to drop a lot on the marks of excellence if we don't get any more out of this game. But if we want to end up progressing with our marks of excellence, we're going to want to try and get another 1,000 damage out at least, so we can start to go up. And we should be able to do that. We squeeze a shot into the E5 cupola, putting us on to just shy of 4,000 damage. We're going to look for the cupola shot again, which we're able to do, and that puts us over to 4,000 with the assistance. And it feels like we're going to win this game now, but I still don't want to throw my tank away. I'm just trying to get as much out as I can. There's a 1-shot E5, and then there's a pretty much full health E5. Now the thing about the Strv K, when it originally came out, it wasn't very good, to be honest, when it originally came out, but since launch it's actually had quite a few buffs. And it's actually a really enjoyable tier 9 heavy tank, to be honest with you now. It's got fantastic mobility. You've got a top speed of 48 kilometers an hour. You've got a decent turret. And I don't know if you you watched my Spirit of War video. It's sort of like the Spirit of War is like the same as the Strv K, but a little bit slower and a much stronger turret. This still has a decent turret, but a lot better mobility. So you can get to those positions quickly and then make use of that sort of gun depression and a decent gun what this tank has. So we're on a 2 shots to the enemy E5. This E5 is focusing us, to be honest with you, but he's going to die at this point. We put 1 shot in. I'd rather not tie it to the E5, but yeah, it doesn't happen. It gets shut down by our friendly AT-60, which brings us then to replay number 1. So let's see how we got on. We got 3 kills, 5,500 damage, 700 assistance, and the ace tanker. So 2 more replays to come. So let's move on to the second replay of the video. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2. This time on Sword Beach Encounter Battle, where we are tier 9 and there's no enemy artillery or fun police in the game. So initially we drove straight into some terrain which is not destructible. That's just because I've got some pro driving skills. But once we've got that out of the way, I'll crash into this rock and then we'll get on with the game. So I'm going to go and try and push the 7-line ridge at the start. And try and get into position just to try and get cross shots onto sort of the the 2-line or the centre area. Essentially, there's a few ways you can play this map. I can go to that position where I'm going to go to, or quite often I like to play the middle, the sort of the F4 location. But for this replay, this is where I've chosen to go because we already have quite a few tanks going towards the middle. So I was going to try and create a secondary angle, essentially. And then go from there. We don't have to worry about getting shot from the artillery, which is always nice because Sword Beach can be a bit of a pain for the artillery because there's not a lot of places you can play safe against it if you really, if you want to try and progress on the battle. It kind of always, because of the map, the way it plays, I find it plays quite campy almost. Like it's always like a slow-paced game. Nothing really happens quickly on this map, so I don't need to take any major risks at the start because I know, generally speaking, the pace of the game on this map is quite slow. So I'm just going to try and take my shots where I can. There will be a few tanks get spotted here, and I'm bound to get a few shots at the start of the game, which is what I'm waiting for. Seeing if any of these tanks get like that get spotted in the middle, I can find a way to get a side shot into them while they're distracted by the tanks in front of them. So I get an early shot into this game. I'm getting detected as I poke here, and it looks like it's this enemy charioteer. So I'm looking to see if I can squeeze a shot into that tank. We actually do, hit that shot, picking up our second pen of the game there. And as I say, good start to the game considering this is genuinely quite a slow-paced game. But with us not having to worry about the artillery, it does make our life, a lot easier. There are quite a few positions where if you've got tanks with gun depression, you can play a lot of the ridges on this map. So I guess this tank is quite well suited towards that, and it's got that mobility to sort of move to different positions if you need to. So early doors, I managed to pick up another shot into that SU, get spotted in the back. There's always going to be a few tanks which are camping at sort of the B2, 3 area. I'd say that the only really places is kind of not worth playing on this map, like the beach, like the 8-9 area. It's not really like Overlord, although you shouldn't go to the beach in Overlord either, but for different reasons. You lose too much mobility. It takes you a long time to travel through the dirt on the beach on this map. So far, pretty even game. Not a lot happened. I'm getting detected each time and targeted when I poke. It's just this enemy charioteer. I was trying to work out if anything else had shots at us from that direction. I don't think they do at the moment. I'm guessing a lot of their tanks are on the sort of B1, 2, 4 ridges at the back there. But so far, off to a good start. We've not really lost any hit points. We've got a little bit of damage. A slow start, but we're picking up damage, here and there. When it gets to sort of the end of stage of the game, where there's less tanks and your team started to push forward, that'd be my time to start really pushing in to get the damage. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get in those shots while I can, because shots do seem to be presenting themselves to me. I am tempted though to carry on pushing down this 7 line and try and make something happen for ourselves, because it's starting to sort of, the damage is slowing down a little bit. So I'm going to see what we can do. Now I've got a little bit of support with me. Try and get a shot into that King Tiger there. Unfortunately, doesn't connect. I'll wait to see if I can get another shot in. And I've got to be careful. Sometimes there can be some tanks at the sort of B7 area. But I'm starting to think that's not the case on this one. We'll find out soon enough. But like I say, I'm going to just try and wrap round to get into position to find some more damage for me. At the moment we've got about 1,600. It's coming down to sort of like the mid game now with 11 versus 10, still even. Half the enemy hit points have gone though, so I would like to try and move in now and get some damage. I spotted our TD on the right. It looks like he's an Iron Rain is fighting the Dragon, and you know what, I decided I'm not that far away to help, so I'm going to go in and try and help the Iron Rain just in case our Iron Rain is on the reload. I'm not sure. I'm going to try and help him out. Unfortunately, the Iron Rain gets lit on fire, otherwise he probably would have lived through this engagement, but I am going to be able to kill the Dragon for free without eating any damage. Put us under 2,000 damage, getting 1 kill, and back to a 9 versus 9, as you say, even Stevens at the moment. But hopefully I can try and move forward and get some shots into these tanks. If I can finish off what's in front of me, then I can get moved down from this position and get underneath the ridge and actually get a bit closer to spot these targets. Because a lot of the sort of stealthy TDs at the back, I'm never really going to out-spot. So I'm going to need to get a little bit closer in order to do so. And you can see I am now getting targeted in this position. So I want to try and get to safety if I can. There's a rock in front of me and I can try and stay safe there. Unfortunately, the Charioteer does put a shot into me there. And I am getting targeted each time I expose myself around this ridge. But I'm just going to see if we can finish off these tanks. And maybe I should have took a different route or kept pushing towards the end, but I want to try and really what I want to do, there's like a ridge in front of me. I want to try and get underneath there because I'll be hold down once I've got there, and then I'll start spotting the targets. And you can see there's stuff which is just not lit, which is firing at me. So I've decided to take the risk and go for it. But as that happened, there was a King Tiger pushing across the open, which I wasn't expecting. He's probably going to shoot us, but he's also going to die for this. So we put 1 shot into him. He actually gets shut down by our friendly general, which is good. And we actually don't lose too many hit points for that, which is handy really, because now we can get into the fight. 9 versus 6. I won about 3,000 damage. Had an okay game, but nothing really spectacular. I'm not going to go up mark on my mark at this stage. But if I can get another like 2,000 damage or something out of this game, then I can actually start to make a little bit of progress. We do spot an enemy 112 heavy tank there, and he is right in the open. He's also our spot, so any of these tanks which shoot this now, I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of assistance as well, which is nice. And we do pick up 500 assistance, also about 500 damage of our own and a kill, bringing us to 4,000 damage. We've got this enemy Italian heavy tank looking to shoot us there. I wanted to try and hug the rock on the left. Unfortunately, the waffle's kind of pushing me out a little bit, not intentionally, just the way it is. But we squeeze in a shot into that enemy heavy tank, and Waffle does well to hit that shot as well, just deleting them there. And it's only 3 tanks remaining, but still, 16% hit points. So some of these tanks are probably, going to be full health. So there is still damage available to us. But it is, it's going to be a win this game. It's just how much damage I can get. Thankfully, this enemy demolisher comes out and he's not focusing us with his clip. He's only got a 3-shot autoloader here. He's just fired this last shell, so I know there's nothing this demolisher can do to stop me killing him now, because he's on reload. I'm going to be able to finish him off before he's got his reload in. And we do pick up our 3rd kill of the game, bringing this to 5,500 damage, 500 assistance, and we eat one off the Tiger 2, but at this stage I really don't care. I'm happy for the Tiger 2 to pen me again, to be honest with you. I just want to get as much damage out of this as I can. Thankfully he actually bounces that shot, which means we're going to be able to finish him off with the help of our team there. We put one in, it gets shut down by our general, and leaving us just this waffle. I tried to climb to come and get the shot in. Unfortunately I got stuck on some rocks I couldn't quite see, didn't actually realise they were there, which has slowed us down somewhat. But we can get another shot in, it brings us above the 7,000 damage marker, and yeah, bring us a decent game here for our mark. We finished that game off with about 7,300 damage, thereabouts. 3 kills, about sort of 500 assistance odd. And we do confirm the ace tanker and the high caliber there. And yeah, decent game as well as getting, so that's it for replay number 2. All we've got left to show you is the final replay, where it's the one we achieved that 3rd mark of excellence. Okay, so we made it to the final replay here on Cliff, and there's one enemy fun police to contend with, but we are tier 9, so we are top tier matchmaking. So initially, we've got a pretty decent spawn to contest the middle at the start of the game, and that's what we're going to do, try and get in a position and see if anything crosses to get some shots in, work out where the enemy team are playing, and then go from there. But this game is going to be one of those games where it's a classic example of sometimes, it doesn't matter what you do, your team just aren't going to get the win. And unfortunately for us, as what often happens on Cliff, is you've got a load of tanks just camping on the 1-2 line. All your heavy tanks, your medium tanks sitting there, not going into the bowl, just sitting on the outside. Generally speaking, it's a poor way to play Cliff, and it decreases your chances of actually winning the game. It's okay to have your tank destroyers there. You don't really want all your heavies just sat there. It's never ideal scenario, to be honest with you. So early doors, I've actually managed to spot this enemy T-32 Proto there, and pick up a shot of damage and not actually get spotted because we're shooting through quite a few bushes here. We do finally get spotted by the other heavy tank pushing up, but we managed to put another secondary shot into that T-32, and it looks like some of the enemy team has actually gone in towards the bowl here. I'm going to try and do what I can to get as much damage out of these tanks in front of me as possible. Looking to some available shots there. Try and go through the turret of the pattern. Probably was never really going to happen, to be honest with you. I would have been better off aiming that a little bit better. But that Proto comes back out again. We're able to squeeze another shot, tracking him in place. Hopefully we can get the finish in time, but unfortunately he's obviously got a decent crew, and he manages to repair and get back into cover before we were able to get that shot in. But looking at the mini-map now, the enemy team have pushed straight into the bowl, and we are losing this game, and it's not looking great for us at the moment, I must admit. Now, I'm only on about 1,200 damage. At this point, I didn't need a lot to free mark the tank. I was like, I just need to get some damage. I'm going to push into this bowl, knowing that we are top tier in this replay, and we'll hopefully try and just get as much damage out of this as I can. If the tanks try and push up on top of the bowl, I can pull back. We have hill control, and they can cover us and get some shots in. But a lot of the enemy tanks are pushed into this bowl right now. So thankfully, I'm in a really good spot just to farm these tanks at the moment. I'm hold down to them, so I'm only really exposing my turret. And there's lots and lots of opportunities to pretty much to get damaging shots in each time I'm reloaded. So that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Iron Rain bounces one off of our turret. He's only got a 3-shot autoload. I don't know how many shots he's got left. He's back round the corner, but we do have an opportunity to shoot this VK. I was looking to get one through the cupola. Don't quite have the opportunity at the moment, but if he keeps coming forward, I will. The Proto comes back round here. We put one shot into him for the drive wheel, putting him onto a 1-shot. But our team are heavily, losing this game, despite the fact we are getting a lot of damage in. I really don't want the heavy tank to come behind me. It's going to stop me reversing back, and it will cost me hit points if that happens. My friend eat one. Stone Cold comes around. He dumps his shells into me, or at least one, but we put him onto a 1-shot there with 4,000 damage. We're in a 6 versus 13. The problem I've got right now is the enemy team have pushed right down the 1 line. and they've won our base. That means that they're probably going to be able to start shooting me in the side, which is a real problem if they realise that. I could probably at this point leave where I am and go back around the other side of the ridge where I've got cover for my friendly TDs, which is probably what I should do. But at the same time, every time I'm reloading I've got shots, and I'm just trying to finish off. There's a few one shots here, looking to squeeze one into the VK's cupola. We do, putting them onto a one shot as well, putting us under 5,000 damage. AT-15 comes out. Like, these tanks in front of me I'm really not concerned with, to be honest with you, because I'm just bullying them, and they come at me one at a time. What's going to cause my death is the fact that we've lost the 1-2 now and I'm getting shot in the side, and that's the problem. That's where I'm getting killed. I'm getting farmed from those tanks now. Iron Rain comes round and yeah, it's kind of game over. But to be honest, sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, you just can't carry a bad team. You can do as much as you can, and the best thing you can do in that scenario is go, well, I'm just going to try and get a good game for myself, you know, and do what I can do. So I've got 1 kill, 6,000 damage, 1,000 assistance. We do confirm the ace tanker, sorry, we've not first class medal, and we do confirm the 3rd mark. But if you look at our team, yeah, there's not a lot I could have done really to do much more. It's just one of those games where you're destined to lose from the start. So that is it for the replay. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for your amazing support, and happy tanking.
Enemy in sight. Hadouken!